After 13 years, Avatar, I see you. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and I rewatched Avatar for the first time in over a decade. You know what this movie is, you know who it's directed by, you know what it's all about, and if you clicked on this video, you've probably seen this movie multiple times. I decided to review this because the 4K remaster came out this weekend. I went to go see it with my dad. This movie holds a very special place in my heart. The movie theater that I primarily go to, Regal Pavilion Stadium 14 in RPX, opened on December 16th, 2009, the same day that Avatar did. The first movie that my dad and I saw in that theater was Avatar. And it's an experience that I'll never forget. And so much so that my dad and I went to see it as kind of a full circle kind of moment. I believe we even saw it in the same theater. It's different now because it's been beefed up for the RPX, but it was in the same theater. It really took me back. Outside of nostalgia, I did want to rewatch this movie for a while because when this movie came out, it was a big deal. Like, you could not escape it. It was huge. Everyone saw it and everyone was raving about it. But then a couple years later, it was popular to hate Avatar. It was like a bandwagon. And I was on the bandwagon. Now, hate's a strong word. I did not hate the movie. However, I did think it was overrated and not as great as everyone made it out to be. But the older I've gotten and the more movies that I've seen, I think Avatar has creeped back up in terms of positivity for me. Now, before any of you jump the gun, I don't think that this movie's like greatest of all time territory, but it's definitely better than I remember it being. First of all, the movie is still gorgeous to this day. The 4K absolutely rocks and just already touches up just a beautiful looking movie. From the military bases to the forest that glows at night to the Hallelujah Mountains, there's not a single moment in this movie where I was like, yeah, that looks kind of drab. No, every single scenery or every single piece of scenery, every set piece is just so very well realized. Also, the fights in the movie are great as well, specifically the ending. The ending goes on for, I want to say, 20 minutes, and the ending fight is still fantastic to this day. There's so much going on, but you never get tired of it. Everything feels earned. It's very well realized, like I said. Sam Worthington was a good choice for Jake Sully. It's weird seeing him in this movie because I feel like Hollywood was pegging him as the next big thing, and it's obvious he's going to be back for Way of Water, but he kind of fell off the face of the earth for a while. And of course, he's coming back for the sequel to Avatar: Way of Water. But for a while there, it was like he was in a few movies, and then it was like radio silent from him. I mean, he was good enough in the movie, but his Australian accent was definitely noticeable in the beginning, but then it kind of mellowed out. Like, you needed someone to play like the vessel to absorb all this information, and Worthington was a good choice. Zoe Saldana is great here as Natiri. I thought she did a really good job. It's always nice to see Sigourney Weaver in anything, and it's nice to see her in a James Cameron joint. They got some history. Stephen Lang and Giovanni Ribisi both play great villains in their own right. Stephen Lang is pretty much Kilgore from Apocalypse Now, but no interest in surfing. And Giovanni Ribisi is pretty much every corporate a-hole stuffed into like a Mark Zuckerberg action figure. The main problem that everyone seems to have with this movie is that it's a story that is very familiar. I've heard comparisons to Pocahontas and Dances with Wolves. That's definitely the popular choice. For me, honestly, I'm not as big a hater towards that as many others. Every movie is based on something. Some are just based on more familiar tropes than others. But when the filmmaking is so good, as in the case of Avatar, I'm more than willing to forgive it. However, now that I am older, I do recognize that the commentary is very smothering. It's very much like man is just the worst and it destroys everything it touches, like that kind of commentary. And it's very ham-fisted and it's very non-subtle. Hell, the thing that the humans, that the corporation is going after is a rock called unobtainium. Unobtainium. I guess because we can't find him and MacGuffinese were already taken. All the movie needed was for Ribisi to have a mustache to twirl, and it would have been fine. The message is not necessarily the problem. The problem is that it just completely beats you over the head with it. It's like purge election year levels of noticeable. And it does provide a bit of a detriment to the movie. And another nitpick that I do have, the movie is nearly 3 hours, and it really didn't need to be that. Now, don't get me wrong, the pacing in the movie is actually pretty good. There's not a moment where I was like, it's starting to lag a little. Like, it was always interesting. But I don't think that this needed to be 2 hours, 45 minutes, or 3 hours. It could have easily been 2.5 hours, or even 2 hours 15, and it would have been fine. But overall, as I sit here in the year 2022, I'm going to give Avatar a great rating. Not an amazing. I do think the commentary is very ham-fisted, and it is a bit too long, but the movie looks absolutely gorgeous. The acting is solid across the board. The action is well filmed and is exciting. And seeing this just gets me even more pumped for The Way of Water. I'm so looking forward to what James Cameron does with that, because this is his first movie that he has been in the director's chair for in 13 years. He's thrown away entire drafts of scripts preparing for this. This is going to be a big deal. So I'm crossing my fingers and all of my toes to see that this is as big as James Cameron has made it out to be. Because James Cameron has yet to miss in his filmography. See Terminator 1 or 2 if you want proof of that. Well, what are your overall thoughts of Avatar? Or if you have seen the 4K remaster, what are your thoughts on the 4K? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.